we actually got an email while we were in Florida about a baby.
Spring break.
On a spring break. About a baby who was surrendered. I was like, oh, a baby, a person baby. And he was like, yeah, right. What would we do with a baby right now? And after the interview, Bruce was like, so what would we name her? I'm like, oh, whoa. We can't even, my heart can't handle.
I remember watching the news thinking to myself, my gosh, these guys have got to be exhausted because Fox News was, every news outlet in America was literally showing you guys in front of a Christmas tree, I believe. Mm-hmm. You were blessed with 2 babies through foster care. Mm-hmm. And then Christ did just something amazing. Mm. So tell us about that.
So...
This is Monica Kelsey from Beyond the Box. We are in the studio today with a family who was blessed from a baby in a box. Welcome to Beyond the Box with Monica Kelsey.
Thank you, and thanks for having us.
It's always good to see you guys. It really is.
Yeah.
I feel like this thing's right in my face. I'm going to blow it down just a little bit. So, Bruce and Shelby, for those of the people who are watching that may not know who you are, why are you guys so important to Monica Kelsey?
You want to answer that?
We got one of Monica's babies. We were blessed with one of Monica's babies.
So you were blessed quite a few years ago. Mm-hmm. And so let's go back to before you were blessed. Mm-hmm. Had you ever heard of Safe Haven baby boxes before?
No.
I don't think so.
And you're a police officer in?
The state of Indiana, city of Mishawaka. Kind of heard of the Safe Haven law, but didn't really know too much about it. Never really applied it with any of our calls that I've gone to. So first time ever hearing a Safe Haven baby box was when we got a call for a baby.
So in being a police officer, the Safe Haven law, but and this is one of the things that we talk about when we go into fire stations and hospitals. Did anyone ever do training with you guys?
No.
See, that's the problem in America today. It's like we go in and we train, and it's like these people have been doing the Safe Haven law for 25 years. I had no idea what they were doing, and they were just supposed to figure it out.
Yep.
And it's like, but yet we're expecting them to get it right, And so being a firefighter, it's like, you do the best you can and you kind of roll with it. Mm-hmm. But sometimes a mother in crisis, you can roll the wrong way. Yeah. You really can. Mm-hmm. And so education is key. And that's one of the things that we really work hard on. And so that doesn't surprise me that Mishawaka Police Department probably didn't train on it. They probably just expected that you would know it.
Yep.
But now I'm sure everybody on the police department knows the Safe Haven law.
Yes. After we were able to be on some different news and opportunity to share the story, and it's gotten around not just in Mishawaka, not just in our community, but nationally too. So it's been good recognition about the law and also Safe Haven baby boxes.
So Shelby, had you heard about the baby boxes prior to? So you work in healthcare, and so did you know about the Safe Haven law?
I did actually, yes, but I had never heard of any baby that actually was safely surrendered.
Right? So did they do training with you guys, or is this just something that you learned through passing? Or
surely at some point, working in the emergency room as a nurse, I was familiar with it. Right when we got an email that there was a Safe Haven baby, and so I instinctively knew what that was, but definitely had no clue about the box and really didn't know a lot about it or any personal.
Right. Okay. So let's go back to the day that you guys got the call. And I'm trying to remember here, but it was pretty early on that you guys got the call that a baby had been surrendered in a baby box in Indiana. And so take me back to that day. Who got the call first? Because you guys were foster parents.
Yes.
Right?
So
take me back.
We started as foster parents in the process of our season of Weight of Having Our Own Children. We wanted to love on other people's children. There was an opportunity for our foster child to become an adoptive child. So then we went from being a foster parent to a foster adoptive child. And in those years in that process, we eventually adopted our foster child. And I remember that was in March. So in April of 2022, we're out on spring break celebrating and thanking God that He has grown our family, and we were content and happy and celebrating that. And shortly later on, that same week of celebrating our new daughter and our family, we get a call. And to be honest with you, someone had called and said, hey, we want to interview for a baby that was surrendered in a box. And I was kind of thrown off. And I think I remember one night.
Maybe I should.
Yeah, you should probably share the story because it's probably going to make me look like not bad.
Yeah. So we actually got an email while we were in Florida about a baby
spring break.
On a spring break about a baby who was surrendered. I was like, oh, a baby, a person, baby, and he was like, yeah, right. What would we do with a baby right now? And thinking, everybody wants to adopt babies. There was no way, right? So, and we had just, again, we were so contented. We thought that was what our life was going to be, just the three of us. And so apparently Bruce, when we got back from vacation, got a call, but he told me it was 10 o'clock at night. I'm asleep. He's like, oh, hey, by the way, I got a phone call about that baby. You remember that email we got? And they wanted us to know if we want to adopt it or something. An interview. And I was half asleep. I don't even really remember. I'm like, yeah, okay. Went to bed, nothing, right? The next day, I get a phone call, right? They didn't really ever respond.
So
the little booger.
I think I was just more in shock and surprised and wow, is this possible? Or what's the probability of us being selected?
Typical man.
Yeah.
Typical man.
Yeah. Whatever the reason. So anyway, so then I returned the call and on my day off the next day then. And anyway, I was out and she was like, I was out taking our grandma to the lab. I remember getting the call and she was like, well, today is the last day we can interview a family. Your name, came up. We really want to interview your family, but how quickly can you be there? And I'm like, oh, well, where are you? And she was an hour away. And I'm like, okay, well, I got to take grandma back home. I got to pick up, Bruce is at work, trying to figure out the logistics. And she was like, well, we've never done this before, but do you think you could do an interview? You and your husband could interview virtually on Zoom. And I was like, yeah, sure. I can make that happen. Here's the time. We figured it out. So I take grandma back home. I go to Bruce's work where he is. And I'm like, baby, I need an hour of your time. You're going to sit in your office. And he didn't even tell anybody what we were doing. So we got interrupted 3 times. I'm like, Bruce, they're never going to choose us to be mommy and daddy to these babies because you're not taking this interview seriously, right? So he played hard to get and, wasn't even committed during the interview. But then to our surprise, just a couple hours later, we shared our story. And a couple hours later, then we got the phone call that they had chosen our family to adopt this little girl.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
How bad do you feel, Bruce? How bad do you feel? You almost
I'm
lost
so happy that Maya is part of our life now. And it worked out. You
might have been divorced.
We're so thankful God's in control and he can work all things out. So
yeah, it was just funny because we just didn't think it was even, it wasn't
the possibility.
Yeah, it just wasn't on the forefront.
So what day was that?
Wow. So it was right before Easter. So oh yeah, because she was.
It was a Tuesday or Wednesday.
Yeah, and then it was a few days later.
Friday, we got to go meet.
Yes.
But
now, was she still in the hospital at that time?
No.
So she was with the foster family at that time. Okay. So you guys probably seen the story that a baby had been saved in a box.
Not even because it was, even though it was in the state of Indiana, it was in a couple counties over. So it was one of those things that never really. Wasn't part of my algorithm or my news feed to see at the time. So, but now I see a lot of things pertaining to it. So
okay. So you guys had no idea that there was even a baby surrendered until you got the email.
Yeah, the email was.
And when you guys were on spring break.
Wow. And we had gotten emails because we were foster adoptive parents. We had, we would routinely get emails of children needing care, right? So I only really made mention of it or noticed it because it was a baby, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, and everybody wants a baby. Right. Yes. Everybody wants a baby.
And when we heard that we were one of 2 families that were selected to be interviewed for the possibility of adoption, obviously there were some medical concerns initially.
And after the interview, Bruce was like, so what would we name her? I'm like, oh, whoa. We can't even, my heart can't handle even going down that road.
I went from 0 to 100.
Oh,
so she was like, whoa, we can't even, my heart can't handle that. Let's not until we actually get confirmation, then am I even going to consider realizing what the name would be. So
So you get the call.
Yeah.
Did you guys even put in for her?
No.
Or somebody just picked your name out of
Yes.
Yes. Yeah.
We don't even, we
You
were
know.
on an adoptive list in the state of Indiana because we had just recently adopted. And that was another thing. We're like, we just adopted. There's
You're not
so
gonna
many
choose
families
someone
out
else.
there
Yeah.
that haven't yet been blessed. I'm sure they're going to choose someone else. So it was a complete surprise.
Well, it's kind of like, what is the, I mean, I don't think anybody really knows the Department of Child Services list or how it works.
No.
You know, because we get this story all the time where they're like, I don't know who put our name in, but we got this call. And I think it was episode 10 or 11 with the Barkmans. Same situation. Nobody put them in, and then all of a sudden they get a call that this little boy is available to be adopted, and they're like, "Great, you know, like this is awesome, but who told you we were adopting?" You know,
Yes, yeah.
but they were foster parents, so kind of like you guys. That's just amazing. Okay, so they call you, you interview, you get a call back a few hours later. Did you get the call?
I did. Yeah.
And then did you call him and say, you almost screwed this up? Like, you almost messed this up for us.
Ready or not, here we go.
Yeah, ready or not. And then
And the interview is when we learned, you know, that she was medically fragile, that she had, what they had told us in the interview was that they had found a mass in her brain, that she was on medicine for seizures. So we really didn't know, you know, neurologically, what that would look like from a long-term standpoint, right? So we were really saying, yeah, a scary yes, you know, a courageous yes, because we really didn't know what her health long-term would be like.
Right.
But we just felt uniquely equipped to handle a medically fragile child with, you know, my background in nursing. And
do you think maybe that's why you were chosen?
Who knows? Maybe.
I do. Like, and, you know, I mentioned that, but we all know that who knows other than God, but
we just are convinced it was the Lord Stanford in our family. That's our but perhaps for sure. Yeah, that definitely would be.
Yeah. Wow. Okay, so you get the call and they say, we've chosen you, or
family. Yeah. But that was then, you know, the holiday weekend with Easter coming up. So we had to wait until they could go back and get the court order. But the foster family who, you know, took care of her
in respite.
Yeah, was able to, you know, they contacted us and then we were able to go see her before, but we couldn't bring her home just yet. So
you got to visit her.
And they really thought it was very important to do skin on skin and get that kind of connection and that attachment. And they were a great family. And
they were such a sweet gift to us. You know, we didn't, our oldest daughter, Kaya, you know, came to us through foster care at 5. So she was potty trained and she slept through the night and
she ate.
Yeah, real
food we eat.
Yeah. And so
quite different.
Yes.
We had nothing, you know, we didn't have, you know, we didn't know. And so, yeah, the foster, you know, mom and dad were just so gracious to us and came alongside and taught us, you know, how to be a mommy to and daddy to a newborn. And so sweet. They had a little girl, their oldest was the same age as ours. And she was just like a second mommy, you know, and she just loved on her and was such a good example, a role model for our daughter of how to be a big sister. So it was, you know, even though that was hard to not be able to have her right away, how they welcomed us into their home and came alongside us. It was a sweet gift from the Lord.
Do you stay in contact with them?
We do. Yeah,
of course.
They keep to our adoption party.
Yeah, of course. Okay, so how old was Maya when you got to meet her for the first time?
3 weeks.
2 weeks old. Yeah.
It was the 21st and she was born on April 2nd. So almost 3 weeks.
Okay.
Almost 3 weeks. Okay. Okay, so you get the call and then you call Bruce. Now, does Bruce think? Talk me through this,
so we had already planned that evening that we were going to go. She was going to have a girls' night, and I was going to do something with our girls. So you were with your friends.
Kaya,
and I had Kaya at the time
because we had asked Kaya what she had thought.
Yes. So she was out with dinner with one of her girlfriends and called and said, ready or not, we got selected. And I was like, when do we get to meet her? And, you know.
What were you thinking though? What were you feeling?
Surprised, because I felt like, as we explained, like, I was like, there's no way that, you know, that interview, I felt like I walked out the middle of it, you know, to attend to some calls, because I did not take myself out of service. And then also in the building we were in had no reception in some spots. So it was very spotty. So they could barely be connected when we were talking about the interviews and stuff like that. So I was just like, man, there's no way. So
yeah, surprise for sure.
yes.
So you get the call though that you were selected, and I guess I don't want to say this in a wrong way, but is it a congratulations? Like, is it I mean, are you like, oh, what is going to happen? You know, what kind of feeling is it?
Super excited. And I was like, wow, this is amazing. You know, this is something that we have prayed for, to have our own child, a baby.
But you just went and adopted one child.
Yes.
And now, like 2 months later, they're like, oh, here's another one for you.
They're like 1 month.
Yeah.
1 month.
Well,
and so what is as a dad, it's like, you've got to provide now for 2 more, you know.
And I would say, because we had such a great support and community with our church and family and stuff, and friends, that I didn't really think of that. Now, it was when Maya came home, and it was lined up with Shelby not feeling well. And then here I am, not even having experience with a baby, not knowing how to change a diaper, doing any of those care things. And that's when, oh, wow, this is a lot. So that was an interesting start of the family. So
you get to bring her home. And of course, everybody wants to meet her, right?
Yeah.
So you have tons of family over at this point, right? Does everybody get to meet her right away?
Yeah.
Yeah, they probably couldn't wait, could they?
Well, and you know, some adoptive families are, you know, their bonding is really important, right? And they do the cocooning, and we've just, I don't know, that's not our personalities. We're just like, oh, look at this blessing.
We're going to share the blessing with others. Yes.
Yeah. So we're so blessed with people just coming in, and we didn't buy diapers or formula probably for the first 6 months.
Easy 6 months, just because everyone just loved on us.
And literally we had nothing, right? Like we had a crib, but that was all we had. And so, you know, there's a lot of things.
Yeah.
Yes. Yep.
Yeah. And truly, we really didn't have to purchase much. Our friend, my best friends came and set up the nursery. She put a
registry.
Right, registry.
Yes.
She put a registry together for you. Know that. She put a registry for us together. I didn't even know what we needed. And she just did it all. It was beautiful. Yeah. So we were abundantly blessed with things.
And you couldn't tell anybody outside of your family.
Yes.
So the people who you really, you know, love the most got to know her, but you had to be careful of who else you told.
Sure.
Because if it got out, obviously they could pull her from you. And that's the one thing that you, of course, didn't want. So what was that like, not being able to tell anyone the extra details when people would meet you?
Well, I think for us, it was more what was harder was the first 30 days, you know, because we had that desire. I had that desire in my heart to be a mom for so long. And with, you know, especially with the fostering, just really being open-handed and, you know, surrendering my plans and just trusting and waiting. And so, you know, knowing that, at any point, you know, this mom, you know, could come back. And obviously that's what's best for the baby. We want that, but just not until that was for sure she was ours. I think that was the hardest part, you know.
How long did the adoption actually take?
Interesting enough, I think we could have adopted sooner. But November 18th of 2022 was National Adoption Day. And locally, with us adopting Kaya earlier in that year, they were like, well, let's push it on, if you don't mind, to make it kind of a bigger story and really highlight that National Adoption Day in the St. Joseph County. So we waited until November 18th to officially adopt her.
And then the whirlwind starts.
Yeah.
And then the whirlwind starts when the media gets a hold of it and realizes that this was a baby that was placed in a baby box. And for some reason, that's the draw with the media. You know, it's like they want to know the stories. They want to see the hope on the other side. And Maya is proof that, you know, there is hope on the other side of that box, you know? And so tell me what that was like, because that was a whirlwind for you guys. I remember watching the news thinking to myself, my gosh, these guys have got to be like exhausted because Fox News was, every news outlet in America was literally showing you guys in front of a Christmas tree, I believe.
Yes. Because it was so close, obviously, to Thanksgiving and then Christmas with the holidays. we were getting reached out and we're like, People Magazine wants to, a story. And we were shocked and surprised, but we were excited to be able to share the story. And to then, like you said, initially starting this podcast, where education and informing others that there is an alternative, there is an option out there, and to even just let people know about the safe haven law. So that was just an opportunity to kind of share that and get more publicity on that. So,
was there negative publicity?
Interesting enough, I'd read the comments about some of the things on social media, and I would bring it up to show, like, oh, that's something I had never really considered. I do remember one of the person interviewing had asked, are you going to tell her story as she grows up? And I'm like, well, she's probably going to Google and she'll see this interview story. And he goes, yeah, you're probably right. So I think
we've never thought about it like that. That's just a part of her story. Why would we withhold that information? That's who she is. That's, God redeemed, and it's a beautiful story. We want her to know that. So it just never even crossed our mind that
to not tell her.
Yeah.
Well, and I think for kids today, they are just hungry for change and for being, some people look at it as being different is not a good thing. I think different is good.
Yeah.
I think people are looking for stories of difference that they can wrap their hearts around and just find inspiration in that. And I think with Maya, that's what they're going to see, because on one hand, you have a birth mom that loved this child so much that she entrusted her with another mother. And then on this side, you have an adoptive family that is loving one child so much that placing another child, you don't think you would have enough love for another child, but you have so much love for two children now. And, hopefully her birth mom saw this story, because I think any mother that's seen this story would find inspiration in it and hopefully peace, because she is loved. She is happy. She is healthy, and she's just living her best life, literally. And I'll tell you, one thing about Maya that just never gets old is her spunk. Like, she just comes up with some crap. Like, she is just, that's the perfect word for her. Because the one picture, and if it's okay if I show it on this podcast, of her in front of the baby, like, hello, this is my box. Like, this is where I came from. It's like, she's just embracing this. And I can see her doing that for the rest of her life, just embracing the story of hers, of showing that there's hope. Again, showing the hope on the other side of the box, which is her. Really, it's her. Hope is on the other side of the box, and her name is written all over it. And so I do hope that her birth mom gets to see that and find the peace that she needs to move on, because there are moms that are looking for that peace. We had a mom that we're going to be sharing her story before long, where she messaged us to give us a life update. And it was a couple years prior that she had surrendered in one of our boxes. And this was a couple years down the road. And in this life update letter, she says, I'm finally at peace. And it's like, when you get those words sent to us, because of what we're doing to help, it just makes it so much, it just makes it so special for us, because we know that we're doing the right thing. I mean, she went through some of our counseling, and, she's been somebody that's texted me, at odd times of the day, and I respond. My phone to these moms is, I treat them like they're my friends, because I want them to know that I have their back, and so, but I don't know Maya's mom. I don't. And that's the beauty of the baby box, is she has the opportunity to tell us who she is, and she has the opportunity to remain anonymous, and she's chosen to remain anonymous. And maybe one day, I think, we'll be able to know her name and know who she is, and maybe, be able to give that information to Maya when she's older. But if she doesn't, Maya's still going to know that she was loved so much by a mother that cared for her and entrusted her to you. you know. So tell me about Maya. Tell me what is some of your favorite memories of Maya and some of the things that you just like, oh my gosh, where did this come from? You know, like.
Yeah, I joke right now, she's 3. And so I joke that she is the best part of my day. And it's true that she also can be the most challenging part of my day. She is so fun. She just has so much joy. She loves life. She's so stinking smart. She loves to learn. She loves people. She is such a social butterfly. And she is so strong-willed, which, that's why, right? She persevered so much as a little bitty peanut, right? As a newborn, overcoming a neonatal stroke. And, she is just overcome so much. She's a fighter. And so she's going to do big things, but she might get into big trouble first. We'll see.
She might be grounding in a lot of her teen years,
but no, she's so strong and witty and fun. And yeah, she's truly a joy to parent for sure.
Yeah, to go along with what Shelby had shared, she is perfectly healthy, which is amazing. And we're praising God. Nothing from the beginning.
So she still has the strokes. There's an area of infarct in her brain, but the other areas, neurologically, the other areas of her brain have compensated. And so she has no neurological defects.
So she's hitting all of her milestones.
Just a miracle. And all of her EEGs have been normal.
When she wakes up, she's loud and she is on the go. And that is not, all day.
Genetically versus, but
she does take on a lot of my personality and my character. And what's interesting is because she was formula because of the birth mom. Right. I had the privilege and honor to really feed her in the middle of the night and really be part of that. So we always joke that the reason that she kind of resembles me and she has my brown eyes and stuff is because, I've always looked at her face and, was always staring at her. So she...
And would literally say, you're going to look just like me and you go.
Well, interesting that you say that because there's a lot of people that think she looks a lot like you. Yeah. And I'm sure you're just beaming on the other side, just saying, yep, she sure does.
And I had given Kaya, our 11-year-old daughter, a card this morning. And it was just a card that just said, hey, just want to say I'm thinking about one of my favorite people, and wrote some encouraging words in it. And this morning on the way to school, she goes, so Maya's not your favorite anymore? So I go, well, Kaya, you're one of my favorite people, and Maya is one of my favorite 3-year-olds. So I have to share my favoritism with all my girls.
She's my favorite 3-year-old, and you're my favorite
11-year-old.
11-year-old, yeah. But it's interesting because they're very smart. They catch everything at that age, So she's going to pick up on things where you're like, man, why did I say that?
Yeah.
So you were blessed with two. You were blessed with 2 babies through foster care, and then Christ did just something amazing. So tell us about that.
So. Interesting enough, we were foster parents in 2018, got our first placement in 2019. And that was just foster to...
In our season of wait.
And
help somebody else when we were waiting.
Yeah, so...
with the heart of adoption.
Yeah. So with our story of infertility, we decided to do IVF in 2020. And
before Maya came to you.
Yes, before Maya. And before we even adopted Kaya. She was just our foster parent, our foster child at that time.
Yeah, so Kaya was with us along the journey. And so she was actually, praying for a baby sister. As we were, going through and helping me with, the injections and all the appointments and all the things. She was with us for that journey, yeah.
The IVF process in 2020 wasn't successful, but we still had some embryos. And then it just so happened during that process, we were able to adopt Kaya and then obviously Maya. Just in 2024, I've got the math right, we decided, I think our tagline in this whole journey is, what's our no? Shelby said this, it's a big yes, but it was really what's our no? So when I said, hey, were we going to transfer the rest of those embryos in hopes to see if our family will grow that way? It came back to that saying of what's our no? And knowing that we weren't getting any younger. So we were able to transfer those, and that's a story in itself. But it's a good story in which, on February 13th of 2025, just this year, we have Eliana, and Shelby really loved the name Eliana because it means
God has answered, and so his faithfulness. So the reason why we didn't transfer those embryos back in 2020 was because they were abnormal embryos. And at that point, research didn't really support transferring those just because of the increased risk for, medical issues, genetic issues. And so that was kind of and we were going through all of this with fostering. It was not easy.
Yes.
Kaya was praying for a baby sister. And then at one of the visits, her biological mom comes running up and is like, "You're going to be a big sister." And Kaya looks at me and looks at my belly because that's what she'd been praying for, And so it was heart-wrenching as then her biological mom had 2 other babies that she got to keep, that were still can she be with mom. And so again, just heart-wrenching and just a heart of surrendering our plans and walking in obedience to the Lord. And so we had these abnormal embryos and we're like, okay, here we are. What are we going to do with them? Right. And we'd always said at some point we'll transfer them. But back at 2020, emotionally, financially, all the things,
were happening in 2020.
Yeah. We kind of put that on hold. And so here we were, Maya's 2. And so some science caught up a little bit, and these mosaic embryos are like, there's actually a chance. And so again, we transferred all 3 embryos. The reproductive endocrinologist did. 2 of them implanted, 1 split into 2. So in
the first ultrasound that we received,
we were pregnant with triplets.
Yeah, we had 3 heartbeats.
3 heartbeats.
And so then we're like, only God could write this story. We were kind of like,
oh wow, kids to 5,
How like what are we gonna do with 3 kids at once? Like this is a lot.
Somebody's retiring.
Yeah. But God provides, right? Like, and that's how we felt about Maya too. Of like, whoa, what are we gonna do? I was working, he was working. How we don't do babies, and like, okay, but God provides, and he was so faithful to do that. And so that's how we felt about the triplets too. But then we ended up losing the twins. And so little Eliana, it was just such a miracle. It was a high-risk pregnancy, all through just thinking, are we going to lose her too? And there was complications and ended up having to, have a C-section and early 37 weeks. But she's healthy and doing well. And here we are with 3 girls, and our hearts and hands are overflowing.
So how does it feel to have 3 females in your home? And you
sometimes it's a little overwhelming. There's a quote that we use. There's a lot going on. There's a lot happening now.
A lot. We used to say that in the
so we say that when I come in from work and I see that the house has been played in, and
that's a good word.
Yeah,
played in.
Yeah, it's been played in.
I do like that.
Yeah, and just it looks like chaos because as a first responder, our roles are to go in and fix chaos and take control. And when I go in and it appears to be out of control, but that's just kids being kids, I kind of go like, oh man, this is a lot going on. But no, it's
sanctifying for sure.
It's been a blessing.
Bruce doesn't always, as a first responder too, and just his upbringing, feelings are hard for him.
So I can suppress a lot, and I don't really express a lot.
Yeah. But having 3 girls,
has opened up my opportunity to have emotions. And
wait till they're in their all in their teens. I mean,
Kaya being 11, she's already that preteen. So
boy, yeah. I'm gonna pray for you.
No, he's a great girl dad. Yeah. He really is. They're blessed to have him as a daddy for sure.
Interesting enough, your story is almost like my story. So my mom and dad, they actually had a little boy back in 1970 that passed away the day after he was born. My mom was a type 1 diabetic, and so back in those days, they were like, do not have any more kids because you could lose your life and the life of your child. Yeah. And so they put in to adopt. And so they get this call, that a little girl needed a home. And so they said yes to me. And then my older sister, surprisingly, was in foster care, and they got her, and then they got pregnant. And as my family is a pro-life family, they would never think of terminating. And so now we have my sister. So my dad had 3 daughters. And so, so 1 bathroom in our 9 room house
Wow.
was challenging.
Yeah.
You know, it was very challenging. But he always had a boy dog. We always had a boy dog. It was always Scotty or Pepper. You know, it was like something male in the house besides my dad. But your story is kind of like our story back in the day, you know, two adopted, one bio child. It's kind of funny because when I speak now, I talk about being adopted, you know, and I say I was chosen. My parents were stuck with my younger sister because they didn't have a choice, you know. And so I'm sure maybe that's probably what Maya's going to say when she's a little bit older. Oh, she know that you guys were stuck with.
Yeah.
And she was chosen. So, well, so what's next for you guys?
It's all in God's hands on this. A lot of people ask, you know, is it
growing?
Yeah, is it growing? As of now, it's just in God's hands. You know, we kind of have an open hand, open heart, and open home philosophy. So,
you know, a decade ago, we would have told you, you know, we want one boy, one girl, and we're done, and that's what we're going to do. And we've decided to stop making plans because God makes them.
God's plans are way better than any of our plans, and we can see God's hand in the whole story, and it's been amazing. And you know, you guys have brought up the biological mom and parents, and that's part of their story. And one thing that, you know, with Kaya was that we want her to, if it's healthy and safe, we want her to have a relationship with her mom, because that is part of her story and that is part of her family. And just as you shared, you know, our girls, well, Kaya and Maya, they have two moms that love them. One mom that loved them enough to surrender them, and obviously Shelby loving them enough to bring them on as her own and stuff. So,
which is just an amazing thing, you know, for those two girls, you know, to grow up with this story of hope.
Yes,
there is hope on the other side. You know, and I think both of these girls, all three of your girls really are going to see that, you know, how blessed they are to be a family, you know, even siblings, you know, I'm sure there's going to be tons of fights, especially with three girls.
Can you relate to that? Are you speaking
100%, 100%, you know, I can tell you stories of my sisters. See, I was the middle child. I was like Maya, you know.
That's why you love her so much.
Oh man, I was like the one that. Well, the other day I was with my mom, and she's like, you know, I always thought I would be bailing you out of jail, and I'm like, Mom, that is not something you want to tell my audience. Like, they already hate me. Some of these people are haters. You know, they're gonna go looking for an arrest record somewhere right now. But you know, I wasn't the perfect child. I challenged everything, and I can see Maya doing that, challenging everything, but being one of the most loyal people that you will ever find in your life with a purpose, you know, because she's got a purpose. You know, I always say that one day I'm going to have to retire. I'm going to have to walk away from this place that I've built from blood and sweat and tears. In my heart, my goal for this place is that one of these kids that has been placed in one of our boxes will take this place to the next level and save more kids, maybe not just in the United States, but maybe around the world.
Amen.
And that would be just an amazing, you know, just an amazing blessing, Christ-driven, you know, mission for one of these kids.
And we see that story already being written, obviously with Maya, because of Maya and us adopting Maya. That is what opened up the opportunity for Shelby's mom, Sue Tingle, down in Texas, to get a baby box in her town down there. And just to see that that's because of just one adoption, and how that can affect other family members and other friends and acquaintances, to see that there is like, wait, we need this here. Like, we see how much joy that can bring, how much love and hope that can bring, and not just the birth parents' life, but in adoptive parents' life and in the community. And then that is a prime example of that story's already been written. It's already happening right here and now.
Yeah. And, you know, I can't wait to see where Christ takes us next. I really can't. Yeah, I was speaking last night in Greenwood, Indiana, and that's exactly what I said. I can't wait. You know, people often say, what's your 5-year goal? I don't have a 5-year. I don't know where the hell I'm going to be in 5 years. Christ is driving the bus. It's like, I'm just the passenger. Wherever he drives me to is where I'm going to end up. And I know that I'm in the safest vehicle out there, so I'm going to end up wherever he is going to drive me to get to that place where he needs me to be. And but how blessed are we to be, you know, a part of this story that he has just intricately put together beyond our control, but for his glory.
Story of hope and redemption.
Yeah. It's his redemptive love. And we see it with God and how if we are adoptive children of God and how he has adopted us, and he calls us to do that same thing, to just love on people and, love them into the adoption of God's family. So,
well, Mother Teresa said it best. He did not call us to be successful. He called us to be faithful. I think that's what we're doing.
Yeah.
Well, thank you. Thank you guys for coming. Thank you for driving all this way and letting us, hear your story and hope for Maya.
Well, Monica, we have to thank you because if it wasn't for you and your driven passion to make these boxes, just 10 years ago? And see where it's gone in 10 years. But if it wasn't for you, we would not have had our first baby. And so we're thankful for you and for Safe Haven Baby Box, and not just you, but your husband and all the people the team that have made it what it is now. So God has truly blessed you. So thank you.
Well, to God be the glory for all we've accomplished. Well, this is Monica Kelsey from Beyond the Box with the story of hope with Shelby and Bruce and their little Maya and their ever-growing family. God bless you guys. Thank you guys so much for joining us. And if you guys would like to be a part of the story and support Safe Haven Baby Box's ministry across this country, you can go to SHBB and make a donation today. God bless you guys. We'll see you guys next time.